Okay. Good afternoon, good morning for those that are online. Thank you very much for being here today. The next session is about the human-centered digital transformation of skills development. I am Juan Iván Martín. I'm the Skills Digitalization Specialist at ILO. I'm very pleased to be here today and honored to present this panel. This session is a little bit different than the previous, so we're going to have first a short introduction by me, then we'll have a keynote by one of our panelists, and then we'll move into the questions. Similarly, in other sessions, we please invite you to use the QR code. It's the same as before, so if you already want to start populating your questions, we will be addressing them at the end of the session. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is changing, and it's changing very fast. And we have seen in different sessions during this Global Skills Forum that there is a so-called triple transition. And this session dwells more about one of those areas in the digitalization, right? The advancement in which new technologies, not just AI, but all the technologies are going, is overwhelming. And we believe that it does create opportunities, and we're going to see an excellent example in a few minutes on how to leapfrog. So how can you take the technology to really catch up very quickly? But at the same time, it brings new challenges. And we already have a lot of disparities in our world. We have big issues with digital divide, as you know. And the question is if AI and, again, other technologies are going to deepen the differences, or again, if there is an opportunity to catch up. As our Director General said when he joined a few sessions ago, this is at the heart of the things that ILO is looking into with its constituents. We understand that it will impact millions of people. The publication he referred to from August 2023 from our research colleagues mentions that there will be millions of people that will be augmented, meaning that they will be able to upskill and reskill themselves so that they can use the new technologies to continue having decent jobs. But on the other hand, there will be also millions that will be losing their jobs. And the question here, not to be too dystopian, is whether or not people will be unemployed, but at some point unemployable. And that is the risk of this fast acceleration of technologies. To discuss about this, we have today a fantastic panel. So let me introduce them, and then, as I said, I will hand over to Ms. Gupta to speak about the case in India. So first and foremost, we are very happy to have the Minister, Ms. Pia Glover-Roll. She's a member of the Parliament in the Bahamas, and she's the Minister of Labor and the Public Service. She currently serves as a Deputy Leader of Government Business in the Bahamas House of Assembly, and her tenure is government has been defined as a number of successful reforms and improvements to the labor and public services in an aggressive agenda to transform both ministries. Thank you for being here. Secondly, we have Ms. Pedro Humberto Mitlech Pastos, Brazilian-born from Bahia. He's a lawyer by training, and he's currently an advisor to the Secretariat of Employment and Income Qualification of the Ministry of Labor and Employment of Brazil. Bem-vindo. Thirdly, we have Ms. Sophie Maddens, Belgian lawyer by training. She's the chief of the ITU BDT Digital Knowledge Hub Department, and she's also the head of the Regulatory and Market Environment Division. Welcome, Sophie. Always a pleasure to meet with you. And last but not least, we have Ms. Shrestha Gupta. She is the Executive Vice President of IT and Digital from the National Skills Development Corporation, NSDC, and she's also the CTO of NSDC International. She's an expert in leading IT and digital initiatives, and she's seasoned in technology executive. I would like to give the floor to Ms. Gupta so that we can go about the keynote of the amazing transformation that has happened in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. And I would like to thank ILO for inviting me here to represent India and talk about our digital transformation journey in skill development. Before I actually talk about our initiative, I want to start reciting or narrating a small story which is very close to us. And we hope that we keep building these stories as we move forward. This story is of a young girl, Rafika, who is from Jammu and Kashmir, which is the northern most region of our country. She's pursuing graduation in geography, living at a space and a very modest background where she had very less resources, learning resources, to access and take opportunities what she wishes for. Skill India Digital Hub, which I will be presenting today, has reached out to her doorstep in a form of technology, in a form of resource, in a phone, where she got access to the courses and learning resources of her choice. She is right now pursuing cybersecurity course, while she is also doing a graduation in her geography. She wishes to take her journey forward in digital learning and many more such technology-based learning. This is not just one story. There are hundreds of stories which are being building. We're building in India, and these are the courses in Python, advanced artificial intelligence, and whatnot. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Skill India Digital Hub, SID. SID as we speak in Hindi, which means proficient in English, competent in Spanish, competent in German, and competent in French. Apologies if I have pronounced it wrong, but I attempted to explain what it means in different versions and different languages. When we started this journey, and let me explain you that this journey was not simple. We started thinking about this when COVID hit all of us. 2 years back, when we were deliberating that there are a lot of challenges in the skill ecosystem, not just which is limited to India, but to many other countries as well. How do we solve this, and what medium should we build so that it makes more accessible and it brings more resourceful or more accessible, brings resources to individuals' hand? And the answer for all of us for the medium was digital. We all in India has dovetailed ourselves to think digitally, and Skill India Digital is one of the products we represent from India. Few of the challenges which were standing in front of us were lack of awareness. There are a lot of initiatives which government brings, industry brings, corporate brings, but people doesn't know what resources are available around us. Discoverability. Again, there are a lot of skilled workforce available. There are a lot of resources which government, industry, corporates, they offer. But the supply and the demand cannot really meet each other. And there's a lot of discovery issues which we wanted to solve. The time constraints, not everybody has time and the energy, the resources they have. So how do we bring those resources and the time constraints in place so that people have access to these platforms at their own convenience? Access, again, how do we make it so simpler, so modular, so easy users to understand that it is accessible in the various regions? India is a country of a large scale, and we cannot have just one simple solution for all. And that is why the way it is designed keeping in mind that the way we are interacting today with our social media platforms or our day and night, our daily utilities, apps which we use on our phone. So how do we make it so simpler that it becomes accessible for everyone? Again, inclusion. It is important that we think about the skilling and the skill development is not only for individuals or those who can reach out to access to these resources, but also somebody who is in the different backgrounds, very modest backgrounds. How can they really bring this? They can bring learning, or they can get learnings through this platform. Or the other side, the mismatches with the industry needs. I think we've been talking about this since yesterday, that there are initiatives, but then yet there are the skill gaps, and we have identified gaps between industry. Quality. again, how do we ensure with the scale, the government initiatives which are being driven, that how do we bring quality to whatever is being delivered, be it training, be it employment, any entrepreneurship opportunities. Trust. While there are a lot of opportunities and people get trained, there are a lot of skilling programs which are being executed by different countries. India runs it as well. So how do we bring the trust with that the trainings or the resources which are made available to the individual, and also the individual who is taking that courses are trustworthy? And then creditworthiness along with the affordability. These were some larger areas where we felt these are the challenges, and this has come out as a research which we have, intense research which the team has run to understand that what should be the problem statements and how that should be handled. To answer this, we have built Skill India Digital Hub, and that's the digital platform for skills, job, and entrepreneurship. Now, this platform has various elements, but to start with, we have made discovery and recommendations simpler, and we've been using the technologies we have been speaking here since yesterday, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, how it works is that there are a lot of jobs, apprenticeship opportunities, skill courses, centers, trainers, and a lot of resources with respect to skill development ecosystem. How do we make it so easy and simpler for people to get access at one platform? If I give a parallel to it, that we start searching something on e-commerce platform, and then we start getting the recommendations of the way we are making a search, and that is how we start understanding that it might be basis my own choice, what could be the further options available for me to access. And accordingly, system starts giving recommendations to individual. Now, this is important that right recommendations are made, and hence it is important, as I've also mentioned, that quality is important component. Ratings matters a lot. So the platform offers rating to happen at different levels. The rating can happen at course level, so individual can start giving ratings to the courses, peer ratings, center-based ratings, course rating, any learning resources. So rate and understand that what your experience is, and if so that other people can also make effective use of it. And of course, it helps in building a right recommendation for us. Digital job exchange. It was important while we were doing this brainstorming that we will not just talk about employability, but also employment. Digital job exchange was something which is the last mile, and most of the time somewhere it gets missed. And again, has been spoken in this forum that how employers and the supply can be matched together. And hence, we were very conscious that we have to have a very simpler and effective job exchange built. And that's not just for the domestic need, but also if somebody wants to migrate, should have international jobs also. Digitally verifiable credentials, as I was mentioning, that trust is important. So how do we establish the proof of work, proof of skills, the proof of identity, and the proof of experience, education, which we have taken? How do we establish at one simple source that, and in a form of very convenient, simpler, tech-based QR code or any exchangeable mode where this can be established? Well, convergence was again another important piece which we had in our mind, that nothing can be designed well if we do not bring whole of the initiatives together. And that is where we have brought in the government, regulators, the industry together. We've got corporates together, training institutes, training providers, educational institutes, and financial institutions together to make a converged system. Entrepreneurship. Again, entrepreneurship was a very important element which we wanted to keep it in this platform, where any nature of an entrepreneur, it could be solo, nano, or micro, where we can provide accessibility to skills, credit, and finances. Digital skills card, it is a portable, as I was mentioning, that digital verifiable credentials, that credentials which establish the trust. On the other side, that how employers can use it and have it accessed in their ecosystem to ensure that, or to understand that this individual can be trusted. Lifelong learning, I think this is again very important element, that learning should not end at one certification or at one degree or diploma. It has to be continuous in nature, and hence skilling, reskilling, and upskilling was something which we have kept it together. Digital skilling, now again, as I was mentioning about, I was sharing the story, skilling has to have in different mediums. It cannot be just a classroom based, or it cannot just be a online or self-mode based, but it can be in a phygital or a blended mode. It can be, now that AR, VR, and XR is being really talked about, how do we bring that experience together so that people learn what they want to pursue in future. So that's how Skill India Digital largely has been put together. Now, while we were designing this, we were very conscious that this platform cannot be just used within India, but if this has to be taken to different countries, how that can be easily migrated or ported to different countries. And hence, the design of this platform was made in a way that it will be stacked. This is built on Indian stack, but has made in such a modularity that each registries and each stack can be sliced and can be used basis the country needs. Now, if I start from bottom to top, we have an identity layer which establishes the identity of whoever is being associated with the skilling ecosystem. Payment layer, so bringing the financial inclusion at one place. So if donors want to donate, philanthropists want to contribute for anybody's learning, say industry wants to bring the fee-based programs, if government wants to bring a grant-based program, so all together as a financial inclusion, we bring it together. Then we have put a layer of skills taxonomy registry. So India has a national framework where and it is made in a way that it can be adopted very easily with any country's national skills qualification framework for their country. We have a course registry, issuers registry, where issuance of certifications or issuance of the credits can be made available. Skills provider registry, which includes your trainers, mentors, counselors, training providers in that larger ecosystem. Skills institute registry, now that in India we have national education policy where education institutions are also offering skilling programs. So bring that education institutions together. The certification registries, skilled professional registries. Now, as I was mentioning, there's a discovery issues. How do we bring, if somebody wants to access any skilled workforce, this registry or the stack can be used simply to access any skilled workforce available. Job registry, very important, bringing all domestic and international jobs together in the terminology and in the framework of the taxonomy or framework which currently country is using, and then the employer registry. This is the platform, the digital job exchange, which I was talking about in my previous slides, that how jobs can be made simpler for employers to access and to post, and for students or a skilled job seeker to access those jobs. As technology is growing, we know that it's not just simply posting a job or somebody just going and accessing a job. Now, AI has given us that edge that we can do a resume building of its own. We can have CV rankings basis the recommendations and basis the information being fed by the individual. So there are a lot of innovation which has been done in this area, and right from simplifying. So the idea is that how do we simplify hiring and access to this skilled workforce? And this entire value chain works towards it. It's not just limited to the jobs, but also apprenticeship. And we all have seen, and I think there's a very, very important session which happened yesterday where we spoke about apprenticeship and the importance of apprenticeship. And hence, these platform caters not just the job side, but also on-job trainings and the employment portion of it. Now, this is just a quick glance to NSDC's network. So far, NSDC has we have trained almost 31 million candidates. So far, we have 9 million candidates placed, 27,000 plus skilling centers, out of which 13.5 million women are trained by us. 4.5 million candidates are from socioeconomic group, 600,000 nearly people from special ability group. And then from the capacity building side, we have almost network of 46,000 plus skills assessors, 70,000 plus skill teachers, 1 billion plus financing facilities what we have been accumulated, 35,000 employers, 750 districts, the geography is covered, and we have 36 sector skill councils in our network. Now, just to summarize it back, that when we started talking about it, that it is important that we cover all the elements of skilling. And it's not just, a life cycle for an individual, but how do we enable lifelong learning for an individual? And it starts from the discovery that what I wish and what I want to pursue in my career. Designing right career paths, allow career transitions in between. That is how the platform is built. To the registrations, counselings are a very important piece. Now, this counseling can be in form of digital, it can be in form of somebody-assisted counseling. Pre-assessments, it's important that we assess what qualifications or what right education that individual has to pursue, what level of course or the skilling resource. Trainings, career guidance, assessment, certifications, feedback, employment, entrepreneurship, lifelong learning. So these are essentially the larger piece, and then this works in a closed loop is what I would think, that because learning never ends. And with this, I would stop here, Yuan, and thank you so much for letting us speak our story here in this forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, So Gupta. So as you can see, pretty compelling case in India. The numbers are just amazing, and the frame of time that took them from the beginning until then is just overwhelming. So well done, very impressed, and hopefully this will inspire others, as we'll discuss in a second. Over to you, Minister. We have the first question with regards to what do you think are the more universal challenges with regards to digital economy and how governments can be prepared, and specifically in the case of your government, if you would like to share with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Well, Gupta has shown us that the challenges, we can rise above them. India is definitely has a great model for the digital transformation that so many countries are pursuing, including the Bahamas. So for us, in the Bahamas, the challenges are numerous. First of all, there's the need for us to bridge the digital divide, and that is through digital inclusion initiatives that a majority of people can benefit from in this digital transition that we are aiming towards. And these challenges range from basic, we've heard in panels over the past day, we talk about universal access to high-speed internet, something that's basic in some countries, but can be challenged in others. Providing access to computers or providing access to devices, as well as the promotion of basic digital literacy. These are some of the challenges that we face. There are also the mechanisms and infrastructure that supports these initiatives, the educational system, the countrywide fiber optic and wireless networks, and of course, financial resources, as was touched on by Gupta, to fund all of these things. All of these are what we call prerequisites to equipping a workforce with in-demand digital skills. Developing economies face these problems at an even larger scale. Because many developing nations have already fallen behind the pace and lack the resources to catch up. So each year that goes by, I tell people each day, each minute that goes by when it comes to digital transformation, and with the rapid growth of digital technology, there's a threat to developing nations of falling even further behind the curve. So we have to see these opportunities, as I would have said before, as these opportunities within the challenges, and we must embrace them. And this means that digital transformation efforts should be seen as investments rather than expenses for our nations. In the Bahamas, we are investing in a whole of government, complete digital transformation, one which I am happy to be the government leader on for our ministries. And this includes human resources and document management systems to boost our efficiency and turnaround times in our processes. We're also embracing digital remote learning opportunities that we kind of was forced into as a result of the pandemic, and how we evolve our systems to accommodate, I think Gupta called it blended, but asynchronous learning opportunities. Our National Apprenticeship Program includes ICT, as one of the major training categories that we intend to make an investment in. And we're developing the necessary digital skills in our existing workforce simultaneously, which is being rolled out on all of our major islands. We are an archipelagic nation, and this includes us having to ensure that we have access to digital technology on all of our islands, which all pose specific and different challenges. But these will be, our expansion and our embracing of the digital technology will be supported through a unit, a department within my ministry that's called the Public Employment Services, and it's basically a job seekers portal. It functions as a job portal, but also as a skills bank, so that we can get a comprehensive view of our current talent levels for Bahamians, wherever they are located across the world, and where our skills gaps are. This will not only facilitate employment in emerging areas for us, while providing us with the data so that we can build our trainings and our skills response for the labor market for our country. And again, to use a term that Gupta used, it's an ecosystem. As we build the digital systems, as we train and hire people to manage these systems, they go on to innovate and create more opportunities within the digital economy. So that speaks to ensuring that the humanistic factor is still involved as we evolve into digital technology, that there's the opportunity to train and hire human beings to continue to manage these systems, Juan.
So much. Very, very compelling answer. Thank you, Minister. The next question is for you, Pedro. In your views, what do you think would be the best practices to ensure that the deployment of digital technologies enhance rather than replace human beings?
First of all, I wish to say it's a pleasure and an honor to be here and share the table with such a great minds and everybody who was here and shares the previous experience about this thematic, about the skills. In Brazil, we have the understanding that the AI, the digital development, have to see as they are a tool to make and improve the workers' labors, not a replacement. It's common knowledge now that instead of use these tools to improve, they talk about replace it, and we have face a new kind of problem that was the lack of capacity or upskills to use the new technology. So in Brazil, we start to make a program that start to upskill the employers and the apprenticeship to learn how to use the new technology. So we are investing in digital literacy and start to make a free program to the citizens of Brazil use and learn how to operate the AI, the dynamics, the Excels, and all of the program that will be necessary to the new works that we face off. We have in Brazil a system similar the Shrishta Gupta said that is called CINE. It's a national system of employment. It's a digital platform when the private sector and the employers start to put the resume and the vacancy and the need to employers so they can converge. And the AI make the job to see in the region and what they need to provide this work. And the government, as a tripartite problem, start to see how they can upskill and promote free upskills to these workers so they can fulfill this kind of new vacancies that we open in this new world.
Very good. Thank you for sharing your views and for these amazing developments that are also taking place in Brazil. The volumes are pretty compelling too. Sophie Madens, the last question before we open to the floor is to you with regards to the future outlook, right? So I know in ITU you've done a number of research also about what are the trends or where things are going. So could you share with us what do you think will be the best way of using technology to continuously enhance learning? And if you could share with us also some of your crystal ball, what might be the skills of the future? Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning, good afternoon. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. I think we heard it all. Digital impacts on all sectors, and that has had an effect on all our lives. Think of e-health, e-agriculture, e-education, e-government services, as you mentioned. There are the innovation opportunities for value creation. We need skills for adoption, and we need the infrastructure for access, because we cannot make it a given that everyone is connected. And as the Honourable Minister mentioned to us, COVID brought it to the forefront for all of us. We realized that universal and meaningful connectivity, it means access, adoption, and value creation is essential. It accelerated the digital transformation process and the adoption of digital services by individuals and businesses. But was it a glitch? We still need to keep our finger on the button because there are still many that are not connected and do not have the skills to use digital in a way that they can improve their lives, because at the end of the day, that's what we're working at. We're working to make people's lives better. So we saw during COVID, schools were closed, workplaces were closed, as we all knew. For those of us with children, it shifted to online learning. And for adults as well, it shifted to online learning. And that requires the reliable, affordable, high-quality internet. As the Minister mentioned, we need the infrastructure. Let me give you a few numbers, because we still have and must continue to have a sense of urgency. Only 67% of the population is now online. So that leaves 33% of the global population, or 2.6 billion people, still unconnected in 2023. You mentioned developing countries, Minister, but we also look at the digital divide persists in rural areas across income, gender, and age groups. And new deep divides have and continue to emerge for vulnerable groups. So when we look at digital skills, we must think of those vulnerable groups, including persons with disabilities. 65% of people in developing countries lack skills to use the internet. And between 85 and 90% of households in LDCs, the least developed countries, have no computers at home. Around 83% of the population live within reach of a mobile broadband network, but only 36% use the internet. So yes, there is a challenge of infrastructure development, but expanding connectivity is not enough. We need access, adoption, and value creation. We need that universal and meaningful connectivities. We also heard that digital is creating millions of jobs, but that requires for people to learn new skills. And as you say, AI is a tool to improve jobs. So the window is open for individuals and graduates to add digital skills and IT certification to their resume so that they can pick the best jobs, including ICT jobs. But for that, they need the material, equipment, software, and the skills to use these new technologies. So to repeat, digital transformation requires digital capacities and skills at all levels. The new technologies, let me list a few of the challenges. We need adaptability, because we need to be able to adapt. There is that demand for specialized skills, in areas such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, the Internet of Things. That requires data science, data analytics, cybersecurity, software development. I heard already upskilling and reskilling. We have the changing job roles. So these new job roles, some jobs may become obsolete. So how can we make sure that individuals add those skills and certification to their resume? I have to mention as ITU, and really as a mother, sister, daughter professional, we need that connectivity. I am who I am because of ICTs. I was lucky enough to raise a son because of ICTs. So we need those ICTs. Also, there is the automation and efficiency. And of course, we talk about challenges and opportunities, but we must also address the ethics and responsible use of digital. So new and emerging technologies are constantly reshaping the landscape of digital skills. So there is that importance of lifelong learning and adaptability in the digital era. So we need strategies for infrastructure development to expand connectivity and accessibility of sources, and that needs to go side by side with providing the skills to use the new technologies. You mentioned collaboration amongst government, Minister. We need the ICT policymakers and regulators to create the enabling ICT digital policy environment, but education providers also need to reform their programs to accommodate that surge in digital skills demand. And let's not forget the private sector. They need to invest in the development of the infrastructure and solutions. Our success in this journey requires a high synchronization collaboration between all stakeholders. You mentioned whole of government approach. I would challenge you. I'm a whole of society approach. We need that inclusive approach so that together we can find the solutions. We all need to collaborate on setting policies, rules, and guidelines and finding the solutions. And I would invite you to join us in two important upcoming events where we will address these issues, organized by ITU. We have the Global Symposium for Regulators, which we had in the Bahamas a few years ago, which will be in Uganda from the 1st to the 4th of July, in which we welcome other sector policymakers and regulators, and our Digital Skills Forum, which we hope to co-organize some sessions with ILO as well from the 17th to the 19th of September in Bahrain. With this, thank you very much.
So much, Sophie. Very, very compelling answer. Thank you so much. Let's take some questions from the floor, and then we will wrap it up. Anyone in the room? Yes?
Russell from Ernst & Young. Question for Ms. Gupta. Fantastic product, and it's very successful. The question is, how reusable is that product across other countries? And I know it's on the India Gov stack, so can you talk about how you could see potentially that product being ported across into other contexts?
Thank you for the question. That was the idea, that we do whatever we are building should be reusable and easily portable. The way it is built, that it is built on open source technology, and it is so modular, the way it is designed that any country bases their needs, they can adopt this product. Skill India Digital Hub is a digital public infrastructure in India, and which has also been talked in G20 initiatives, that how do we exchange these initiatives which is being established and built by any nation, and how the other countries can adopt it. We recently partnered with SISASNet, which is Sub-Saharan African Skills and Apprenticeship Group Network, where we are working very closely with them to see how do we bring Skill India Digital Hub, which is a DPI, and their network can make use of it. So we are already speaking with many countries, and they see value in this product, which can straight away be deployed in their country as per their demographic needs. So it's definitely a product which can be adapted and being used. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question from the floor? Okay, so I'll take a question online. There is a question for the skills development for the fresher graduated from college. that didn't get a job right after the studying. So what was the step that was taken? And I think the question is directed to India too, to bring that to the attention of the existence of these platforms to those students. So the specific question is, how did you do in India to bring to the attention of students, particularly those that didn't get a job right after their studies, so that they were aware of these platforms so that they could use them?
Again, great question. While we were designing this, and I was mentioning that when we were conceptualizing this product, we wanted to cover and cater the entire the diverse group we have in India. It is not just a product for skilling or only upskilling, but it is also a product for people who are looking for a job. So it caters for individuals who are they're freshly graduates, somebody who is actually undergoing any trainings, professionals like us, or somebody who's not in education or not in training, or maybe somebody got dropped out from their education for whatever reason. So this platform caters for entire group. For jobs, particularly for graduates or freshly graduates, we have, while on one side, while we were developing the platform, we were also developing a network. And as I was mentioning in my presentation, that this is whole of, and I agree, whole of this society which has come together. So we have a lot of employers. As we speak, we have nearly 300,000 jobs, which are opportunities which are running live on this platform. And the platform got live 4, 5, 6 months back. And almost 6 million individuals are started taking courses through this platform. So people are making use of it, so they take skill courses. And if they wish to continue their journey to take it to the jobs or the livelihood, they do that. Now, if somebody who is already into some jobs and they want to move to different career, or they want to upgrade their livelihood, so, and if there are gaps identified for somebody to pursue to the next level, we do tell them that these are some courses or micro courses or a capsule-based learning which you can pick it up, and or maybe a profession certifications which you can take so that you can pursue to that job. So I hope I could answer the question, but that's our way to solve this problem. Thank you.
We have another question with regards what do you think are the 3 opportunities associated to implementing digital strategies for skills development? Any one of you? 3 main opportunities for implementing digital strategies for skills development. So if you do it right, what are the benefits?
I'll take the question.
Please, thank you.
The 3 opportunities that exist are an evolution of our workforce. As these new technologies develop, we find opportunities for our workforce to basically reflect the changes and reflect changes through different and new and innovative positions. There's always the opportunity of training and continual learning, the lifelong learning that we speak about. But more importantly, there's the evolution of new jobs that will emerge. And that's why I say there's still going to be the humanization of digital technology, because new jobs will emerge out of digital technology and AI. There's going to be systems administrators, network specialists. Sophie mentioned ethics and responsibility, so there's going to be the increase of cybersecurity specialists. But we should see digital technology as an opportunity for our workforce, our labor market to evolve, to reflect the changes in our digital world. So I don't see where, there is always the thought amongst our citizens that AI and technology is going to do away with the need for human beings. But I think it's absolutely the opposite. It's going to provide new pathways, new career paths, and new opportunities for humans to engage.
Anybody else would like to comment on the opportunity side of things?
In the same way that Ms. Glover started to talk, we have to make the understanding that in this path of opportunity, we will face one problem, that is the lack of instrumentation for the people who have less money, have less access of this kind of technology. Ms. Sophie talked about the opportunity for the disabled to have access to this kind of instructions and upskills. So we have the commitment to provide the access to those who don't have the time, the network connection, or the access to a mobile or a personal computer. So we have to make a partnership with the sectors. It's a tripartite problem. It's unionized, is the private sector and the government sector. So how we face this problem in Brazil? In Brazil, we start to make some kind of partnership with the private sector. So Microsoft is in partnership with Brazil, and we start to make the platform called Labor School 4.0. It's a digital path that provides technology and literacy for the who don't have money to pay and have access. And the House of the Worker is a place provided by the state where they can have access to this kind of computers, the network connection, and some people to try to translate to him how to operate and navigate the systems. We have new jobs and we have old workers who need also to be able to overcome these new obstacles. And also we have a politics to integrate upskilling to apprenticeship. It's the same thing. The young people need to upskilling to have better access to this new era of works, this new labor, these new kind of things. In Brazil, we have a digital call Worker School 4.0, who have 5.5 million of vacancies to people have free access to have literacy in the digital platform. And today, we have over 1.3 million of young and old workers to have the access to this platform. In the network of labor, the CINE, we have over 12 million of people who integrate the system and try to operate with the private sector to find the jobs. We have partnership with other private sectors to understand that the upskilling is also a demand they need, because we face a new problem. We have works, but don't have the worker who capability to operate the system or use this kind of tools. As was previous talked about yesterday, the blue-collar workers. You can have a construction worker who have the electricity capacity to the civil construction, but they need electricity on the power station. It's our job to make this platform to know where and when we need to provide the upskilling for these workers in this region to overcome this new obstacle and use the tools as they should be used, as tools, not replacement of the society.
Can I just jump in there? You mentioned not forgetting the persons with disabilities.
To click again, please.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, I think it's okay. You mentioned the persons with disabilities. We talked about whole of government and whole of society. For policymakers, and I know there are policymakers in the role, think of a holistic and inclusive approach, and also think of innovative regulatory and financing approaches, because we know that universal and meaningful connectivity, I talked about the necessary investments, and especially for developing countries. But innovative regulatory and financing approaches can help you to close that gap. I'm just going to quickly mention when in Portugal, for example, you talk about bringing computers to rural areas. At the end of the 1990s, they actually used their 3G mobile licensing process to enable schools to be connected, to enable the rural areas to be connected. And how? Not by asking for large spectrum fees or auctions, but they actually included it in the evaluation process of the beauty parade for the mobile license. And 50% of the evaluation criteria was actually bringing innovative information society projects to the whole of Portugal, including the rural areas. So it's just a small example, but think about these innovative regulatory approaches, regulatory sandboxing. Look at what it did to fintech. So think about those innovative regulatory approaches to achieve your goals.
Yeah, you didn't hear, so let me try to wrap up the session. So thank you very much, dear panelists. I think it was very, very useful. So we've heard and we've seen the amazing case of India, where millions of people have had access and have really moved from a very offline, face-to-face approach to a very digital one, where everybody has an identifier, all your career, all your certificates, everything is now registered and digitalized. We have heard in the case of the Bahamas, where great investment are happening, where a lot of activities are also taking place to create this ecosystem in order to bridge the digital divide. So it's also very, very compelling. We've heard in the case of Brazil, this amazing digital path, that is this free program that is training around 5 million people a year, which is pretty amazing. And in partnership, as we said, with a private company, I think you mentioned Microsoft. And finally, with ITU, with Sophie, we are hearing that infrastructure and connectivity are essential, that there is 2.6 billion people still today that are not connected, and therefore they do not have a chance to participate in the opportunity of the new technologies and the AI, among others. And last but not least, I think we're hearing a lot about collaboration. Collaboration is of the essence. I think at the speed in which things are going, it is very difficult to try to solve it on your own or in your country or in your institution. Collaboration definitely is there, and I think in that case, ILO is really open to collaborate with our different constituents in order to help with this challenging transformation. With that, thank you very much. We have a coffee break now. A big round of applause. Sorry for our panelists.